Hi everyone, welcome back to Faith Wings. It's Melissa, and today I have a random Bible verse that I found that I want to share with you. And so before I begin, please remember to like and subscribe and comment what you think about this Bible verse or if you have another one that you want to talk about. Okay, so kind of a backstory. I just sort of like flipped through one of my old Bibles and found a verse that I had, or a passage that I had like boxed off that I guess I must have liked last year that I found. And so I didn't really read it. I just wanted to kind of see what it was like for fun in front of you guys and see, I don't know, what the interpretation could be just like off the cuff. So it is Luke chapter 14 and it starts at verse 25. And so I'm going to read it to you from my New Living Translation Bible. And the section of this like paragraph or this passage is called The Cost of Being a Disciple. A large crowd was following Jesus. He turned around and said to them, "If you want to be my disciple, you must, by comparison, hate everyone else. Your father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters. Yes, even your own life. Otherwise, you cannot be my disciple. And if you do not carry your own cross and follow me, you cannot be my disciple. But don't begin until you count the cost. For who would begin construction of a building without first calculating the cost to see if there is enough money to finish it? Otherwise, you might complete only the foundation before running out of money, and then everyone would laugh at you. They would say, 'There's the person who started that building and couldn't afford to finish it.' Or what king would go to war against another king first without sitting down with his counselors to discuss whether his army of 10,000 could defeat the 20,000 soldiers marching against him? And if he can't, he will send a delegation to discuss terms of peace while the enemy is still far away. So you cannot become my disciple without giving up everything you own. Salt is good for seasoning, but if it loses its flavor, how do you make it salty again? Flavorless salt is good neither for the soil nor for the manure pile. It is thrown away. Anyone with ears to hear should listen and understand." Wow. That one's, I don't know, that's kind of a hard one to interpret, right? I mean, except for the part where he says that we basically have to be willing to give up everything to follow Jesus. I do appreciate that he kind of gives this like almost warning about following him in this passage, where he says that not only do you have to bear your own cross, but he also says that you should really think about it and make sure it's the right decision for you before you go and commit to him. And I think this is like, honestly, like a really powerful thing to say. And I think like, I don't know, sometimes maybe with like wanting to spread the religion, sometimes we forget that like this isn't an easy path for people. Like it's not an easy path to follow Jesus. It's actually really, really hard. And he's very vocal about that throughout like the New Testament. But I do appreciate him saying like, look, like other people think before they act. Other people, you know, like, and it's normal to think before you jump and follow me. And he wants us to really make the decision for ourselves, which I also think is really important, is that we like really consider, do we actually want to be a disciple of Jesus, or do we just want the salvation part? You know, I think that being a disciple means doing the hard things, and it also means being able to look at yourself and say, is this the right path for me? Am I doing the right things right now? You know, because we can be told things from people at church. We can be told things like, and I mean by like the pastor or the church itself, but we have to be the ones to ultimately decide what we're going to do. And I think that's what Jesus is kind of saying here, is that like, it's okay to be like, no, I'm not going to go to war when I have only 10,000 soldiers and the other guy has 20. Like, it's okay to say, oh, wait, my finances aren't in order, so I'm not going to build this building. He's saying it's okay to recognize if we aren't like fully ready to commit to being a disciple of his. but we just have to know ourselves well enough and know if it's the right path or not. And to get a little bit personal with it, I've been like thinking about getting baptized again, but honestly, I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking about it. I still want to learn more about Jesus. I want to learn more about the church. I want to learn more before I do this very important religious act and commit myself to it, you know, because I think that there is something more than symbolism with baptisms that, like, I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm ready yet. I need to study more. Right now, I have 10,000 men and the other person has 20,000. So I'm still on the fence with it. And I need to really think about it more if this is like the path for me. That's just a personal example of where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And that's okay. He even says it's okay. He kind of encourages us to question if we really are or not. And I like that. I like the emphasis of free will that Jesus always has in his messages. Because I do think that at the end of the day, we have free will and God wants us to choose him willingly, not just because we think that we have to or because we want a reward in the end. It's not about that. It's about living our lives and being committed to living like Jesus did. And that's a big ask. You know, he says, bear your cross. He knows that it's like we have to be willing to do what he did if we really want to be one of his disciples. And I think that's important. All right, let me know what you guys think. I actually really liked this passage. I didn't really think too much about it beforehand, but I think it's really important, actually. But let me know what you think. Again, it is Luke chapter 14, and it starts at verse 25. All right, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.